RC Models and More back with you. And weather's finally breaking here in Ohio. We've had a great stretch of like 70-degree days, and finally decided to take the quad back out and start doing some flying again. So I've ran about 15, 20 packs over the past couple days. And I'm just trying to learn all over again with Acro mode. That's one of the biggest intimidating things I think there is in quad still these days is how do you fly like Mr. Steel or Final Glide or oh my God, and without a lot of practice, you're probably never even going to get close unless you have a God-given talent. I mean, these guys are just amazing, and they're fully engrossed in the hobby and they have all these resources and everything. But anyway, I still love watching all their videos. So, like I said, Acro is probably the most intimidating thing, more than building a quad, more than tuning a multi-rotor. It's probably one of the most intimidating things that there is. But what I found at the end of last year and what I'm finding now after even running through 15, 20 packs is that, excuse me, with practice and knowing your stuff, your quad, a little bit about PIDs, your remote, expo, knowing all of that kind of stuff, you can actually make progress and get good. You just have to get over the fear and the anxiety over it and just do it. I only fly pretty much FPV. When I first started out, I flew line of sight, but I was flying, a NASA, which would just sit there and hover a 450. I'd flip it into attitude mode and I'd freak out because the wind would blow at 20 feet. So some of you guys have been there. Some of you will never be there, but that's just the way that the hobby's progressed since I got into it 2.5 to 3 years ago. I started with the Nano QX. Then I got the Phantom. Then I built a big 450 size quad, and then I dabbled in airplanes and everything like that. But then October of a couple years ago, whenever I was watching Sharpoo's videos and stuff, I saw the QAV 250 and I'm like, man, I want to build that and I want to do it. So I bought one, I built it, I flew it in angle, self-level mode, whatever. That's it. I didn't know what I was doing as far as tuning stuff. There was some resources out there on YouTube, nothing like there is now, but whatever. My next big jump was last year when the Vortex 285 came out. I immediately got into it. I thought it was great, still do. Loved it. Flew the snot out of it, but I flew the snot out of it pretty much in angle mode the whole time. It was only there at the end of the year last year, the last couple months of the fall, when I really started doing some acro and catching on to stuff. And that was pretty much after I decided that I was going to learn how to actually tune my QAV 250. And I bought a wireless Bluetooth controller. I had the app for the phone. I watched a couple videos on YouTube. One by a guy named Shelby Vol, I think. I think he's like affiliated with, I don't know, Multi-GP or something like that. But it's just a real basic video of him just kind of flying around talking about what his quad's doing and what it's everything. And I followed his instructions and it actually worked because it helped me understand what I was doing. Bruce from RC Model Reviews put out a great video a couple days ago that explained, what better terms for PID. he basically named it past, present, and future. And that actually helps a lot. But there's a lot more things that go into tuning that. The RC section that's built into Clean Flight configurator, but whether you're using Betaflight or whatever you're using, that really can help your Acro experience. So once I got to that point, I started flying the 285 in Acro. And the thing that really forced me the most to fly the 285 in Acro, that a lot of 285 owners know, is that the Pro Tunes that the guys made really didn't work in angle or horizon mode. Um, and I did a lot of adjustments on them, and I finally found one that kind of worked. And I just kept watching these videos, all these guys, and I'm like, why am I even wasting my time? I'm just gonna go for it. So that's what I did, and it wasn't bad. I mean, I broke a lot of props, but then dowel props came out, so you fly dowel props so you don't break a ton of props. The other day I busted my GoPro. You buy your GoPro at Best Buy and buy the warranty so you can walk right in and exchange it. I've done that 3 or 4 times. I've went from a 3 to a 4 silver and walked out of there with a gift card because they went down in price and everything else. So buy your GoPro at Best Buy. That's a quick tip. Again, then the other thing about Acro mode that I noticed talking to one of my buddies the other day, um, local guru, check him out. He's kind of following the same journey as me. Um, I texted him and I said, we have such different styles of flying. And he laughed and said, I'm flattered that you think I have a style. He does a lot of proximity and stuff. And, I'm doing a lot of low and fast, kind of just, passes. Um, just trying to get the feel of things, throwing some flips in there, throwing some rolls in there, doing some coordinated turns with the rudder or with y'all. Sorry, speaking airplane. Um, then you get your total 3D guys that are using air mode and getting hang time and all this stuff, and it's great. And it's going to take a while to get there. And probably by the time I get there, there'll be some other crazy flight controller. Uh, there's already Acro Plus, so the stuff's just evolving crazy. So I'm going to be updating this series throughout um, this flying year to show how I progress. And I'll pass along any information to you that I can, starting with this video, and hopefully listening to my rambling. Um, you may be interested in that. So, I guess to help me, I'll try to help you, and we can all be flying less, walking around in muddy fields looking for our quads, flying more, walking around in muddy fields looking for our quads less, and replacing less GoPros and props, and that usually leads to happy wives and better bank accounts. So be right back. Let's take a look at some Vortex stuff. All right, so here's where the rubber meets the road. Cut to the bullshit here. So I want to go over a couple things that everybody talks about on the Facebook group and the forums and stuff, and what my thoughts are. The first thing, 3S or 4S. 3Ss are a little bit cheaper. 4S to me is the way to go because you're going to get there anyway. If you're going to buy batteries, just buy them once. They do give you more power, but I think in my experience, the extra power on 4S has got me out of a lot more trouble than it has gotten me into, especially when I'm coming out of a move and all of a sudden the ground's coming real fast. I know that I got that power there to punch out. So go to 4S right off the bat. The other thing is triprops or regular with like bullnose or whatever. It's kind of a choice, but what I'm finding so far since this year, I started off on bull nose and I went right to tri props after halfway through the packs. I noticed, yes, I had less flight time, but I had a lot more control and authority without doing to anything to the Pro Tunes. Whether it says that they were tuned for a tri prop or not. And it's kind of common knowledge that Boris's tunes and I think Tommy's both work with either bull nose or tri. Uh, so the other thing is to be familiar with your setup, your Tyrannus, your radio, whatever. Um, right now I have mine clean, no expo, no throttle curves, no nothing. So that's what I'm starting at. I'm doing all of my changes within the OSD. So the other thing that I did to my Tyrannus was I tightened my gimbals, and I'm also teaching myself to fly pinching without thumbs. As stupid as it sounds, it's actually made a difference already, and I'm still trying to get used to it. So the first thing you want to do is, you want to pick a tune um, that you want to try. I'm using Boris's number one, which says, it's for this, GoPro beginner, whatever, not a big deal. And just load that up and go out. And by the way, I'm flying 2.5.3 clean flight. I know there's newer versions out there, but I do not think they work with the Pro Tunes. So, anyway, um, fly a few packs line of sight. Get used and watch your quad what it does when you bank hard left, you bank hard right, you yaw, everything like that. And then fly a couple FPV. Fly them in angle mode if you have to. But fly it in acro before you go that much further. The reason why is you're going to be able to see exactly what it's doing in correlation with your stick movement. So the best advice I have starting out is just to remember that in acro, every action has an equal reaction. So you don't have to jam the stick forward to fly forward. You only have to tap it forward a little bit. To stop it, you only have to bring it back a little bit. You don't have to mash on these sticks. Small, subtle movements will be fine. Now, I do notice that yaw is one thing that I changed for me. And this is that other setup that we talk about that's built in called your RC setup. Now, this is where you change your RC rate, which basically the higher the number, the faster the maneuvers will happen with less of a stick input. Expo will dumb down that stick input. Roll rate, pitch rate, and yaw rate all come pre-configured. I upped my yaw rate and I lowered my yaw expo so that way I can do my coordinated turns and my fast turns to do my side to side passes a lot faster. In fact, I'm just going to do it while I'm thinking about it right now. I'm actually going to lower that down a little bit more. So those are all the changes that I have done right now. And before I put everybody to sleep, let's just show you my last flight footage. I will tell you, my last couple packs, my DVR on my Fat Sharks filled up, and I had already crashed and broke my GoPro. So I didn't get the capture. And they were my best flights, the last two packs of the day, besides the last one where I got cocky and put it in. So it always happens on the last pack. Everybody knows that. So here's a couple minutes of some flight footage from the other day, just kind of showing you what my process is. Write down what you want to practice and stick to it. Left to right, right to left, front, back, whichever way your field or your flying line or whatever is set up. Don't fly any further than you're willing to walk and get the thing, or you can't find it, and then progress throughout your packs. If you're tired of flying back and forth at 100 feet, try doing it at 50 feet, then try doing it at 20 feet, then bump it back up to 100 feet. Try to throw a flip in there. The way that these Pro Tunes work, the slower and easier you pull back or pull forward or roll your stick, the slower the maneuver goes. The faster you get it over there, the faster the roll or the faster the flip will be. But you're going to probably overdo it, and then you're going to freak out a little bit, and you're going to come back either way to correct that move, which can get you into trouble. So practice slowly first, and you'll see that, I'm doing the same thing in my flights. And then I'm also working on the coordinated turns with yaw and a little bit of roll, and working the throttle, which another horse throttle to me, and I think throttle should be labeled power, because throttle in a mini quad doesn't make you, in acro mode, does not make you go forward or backward. It usually will just either take you high or take you low. That's pretty much the way it goes most of the time. So anyway, sorry these videos are long. I just wanted to get some info out there along with my rant. The other ones will be progression videos and any other stuff that I decide to find out or I learn or whatever. So here's the flight footage. I'll see you guys later. Peace.